Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all having a great day or start to your day and that it's absolutely amazing. Tell me which cryptocurrencies you are currently buying. What are you investing in? What do you think other people should be buying? There's always around 4 to 5 different coins that I'm personally investing in because I think they're going to do really well in the next couple of weeks. But that's up for everyone to decide for their own portfolio. Yeah, and without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Where are prices going? What is the cryptocurrency market doing? What are we about to witness potentially over the next couple of weeks? The excitement is bubbling for this cycle. And I say it in gigantic quotation marks because the tug of war still continues between if we're actually in a cycle, or if the cycle's over, or if prices will move up forever, or if things have changed completely, or you know, the thing that we've been going over for a while. In another, I don't know how this keeps happening, in another blast from the past kind of thing, Charles Hoskinson used to be quite heavily in the cryptocurrency news for a multitude of reasons, depending on which day you were actually looking at it. However, for some reason at the beginning of 2025, he kind of became like Mr. Crypto Sunshine. I don't know how to really phrase that otherwise. Charles Hoskinson, previously in the past, and we know this because we saw it in the news, used to dislike Bitcoin and couldn't stand Ethereum, and he hated Ripple and he hated XRP, and he thought people who held these coins were expletive and this and so and so. And that was kind of the Hoskinson news that we had for a while. And then this year, he kind of became like, oh, no, I love every coin. Everyone's amazing, like that kind of thing. No one really knows where it came from, but alas, it is here. So the predictions, if you will, for timelines and the future and prices and where the cryptocurrency market is going is quite strong, and Charles Hoskinson has something to say about it. It appears he is also on one particular side of the line when it comes to everything that's actually been going on. Cardano founder, his name is Charles Hoskinson, has voiced strong optimism about the future of cryptocurrencies, forecasting that Bitcoin could more than double in value by next year. Hoskinson shared a bold outlook during a Bloomberg interview. He highlighted key drivers of the next growth wave, including institutional adoption and regulatory clarity. That's been a big one. Years ago, we thought it sounded like a joke. Everyone. We need regulatory, please, regulators, please. And I was like, okay. And I mean, it took 3 drops of regulatory clarity, 3 drops in a bucket of regulatory clarity from the SEC, and all these companies flooded into our market. So I can't imagine, as we get more actual regulation from the regulators, how much bigger this industry is going to become. For regulatory clarity, Hoskinson mentioned the Genius Act and the Clarity Act as pivotal catalysts for the upcoming growth. He noted that these initiatives could foster an environment conducive to mainstream adoption among both retail and institutional investors, while acknowledging a slowdown in venture capital activity. Hoskinson expressed confidence that investment would regain momentum towards the end of Q4 of this year. That's just about now. And into the early part of next quarter. We used to nearly only have VC activity, like venture capital activity, and it mainly showed itself in this company is giving $120 million to Ripple for research. This company is giving $180 million to the Ethereum Foundation over the course of the next 4 years to figure this out, to build up this project, to look at other layer 2 solutions. That was really all we kind of had before. So the slowdown in venture capital activity is kind of like, I'll say it nicely, it's not necessarily needed as much anymore. These things are kind of like solid. We know that the Ethereum Foundation, the Cardano Foundation, the Bitcoin Foundations, Ripple, they don't really need venture capital funding. I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, what kind of acquisitions might be going on, but these companies are well established. Coinbase used to get a lot of like fundraising rounds, and they're not really needed anymore. So it's just, it's that kind of thing. Right. He had previously set this price target earlier in the year. He's talking about $250,000 Bitcoin. If you were not here springtime, it was like a literal wave. It was nonstop of price predictions for this market. The beginning of the year, people predicted that Bitcoin might go to $150,000 by December 34th. That then turned into, $200,000. By the time we got to spring, everyone kept on saying $250,000. I mean, with all the money that we saw flowing in, it began to make sense as everyone kept on reiterating over and over, we're buying Bitcoin, this company's buying Bitcoin, we just bought 1 million Bitcoin, blah, 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 Bitcoin. That kind of thing. As the buying picked up, that's when Samson Mow, Adam Back, and other like prominent Bitcoin maximalists came forward, and that's when we started getting the $500,000 to $1 million predictions by the 38th of December. That was another really big thing that kept on popping up. But the mainstay was basically $250,000 to $500,000, $250,000 to $500,000 for Bitcoin in the upcoming timeline. That's why you see the predictions for 2028 prices have this idea of the broken 4-year cycle. Bitcoin just continuously moves up. If we get to 250, 300,000 in 2026, therefore, this lends to the idea of $1 million Bitcoin by 2028, 2029, 34,000 Ether. You know all the numbers we've been going over. Everyone just keeps kind of saying over and over that they just kind of assume that cycles have kind of broken. And with this seemingly eternal amount of money that it's flowing into the market, this would only then continue our prices going higher as the amount of crypto on exchanges continues to dwindle and on OTC markets is all but near non-existent at this point. He had previously set the price target of $250,000 earlier in the year, projecting that Bitcoin could reach $250,000 mark by late 2025 or 2026. He has now reiterated the forecast, once again emphasizing his firm conviction in the prediction. On top of that, this is what I think is also, so I need to be abundantly clear. No one knows what's going to happen. No one, not one single person, nobody can tell you. Everyone has an idea. And this is why I said, when all these analysts began to have like similar prices, I go, okay, cool. You all have similar looking charts, blah, 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 but no one knows for certain where things are going to go. However, I believe that something really massive has kind of taken place, taken shape, that kind of can't be ignored anymore. The hundreds of companies who got into the space almost seemingly suddenly, if you will, out of nowhere. The amount of money we used to hear, I'm putting $1 million into Bitcoin. My company just bought 500 Ether. And then that turned into, we just bought 3.5 million Ether in 6 weeks. Yeah, we just bought another 5,000 Bitcoin. Oh, my company? Oh, sorry, we have 726,000 Bitcoin that we bought in the last 24 months. Everything kind of expanded a little bit too quickly for me, which lets me know that behind the scenes, and I say this with my tinfoil hat on, something has been decided, something has been reached, some sort of coordinated something, because there's no way that after me having been in this market and going over news every single day for thousands of days, that all of a sudden everyone just seemingly loves Bitcoin, has a great outlook for it. Yeah. Prices are going to $3 million. That wasn't how things were, especially even last year. So it says crypto is 3 to 5 years away from becoming the backbone of the financial system. All this discussion that we keep getting about stable coins and this doing that and this integration into that. And I mean, we should have all seen this coming from the first discussions that we had years ago about the countries who were already buckling under economic terribleness, who were thinking about creating Bitcoin bonds. If you weren't here, this was 2018, 2019. The crypto market had gone up. Everyone was like really interested. What's going on? How did Bitcoin get to $20,000? First of all, there were and are a lot of countries who were just doing bad economically. But I think it was 3 countries who came forward and they went to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and they told the IMF that they were going to issue Bitcoin bonds. Basically, the countries would be buying Bitcoin and issuing bonds against it to kind of, save their economy. That was the first. We were like, what? Like, the idea of doing that is like basically like you're throwing your hands in the air saying like, we can't do this. Like, we need Bitcoin. And then the IMF told them, you better sit back down. And they said there is a 0% chance that we're going to allow you to do that. That morphed into countries who are under U.S. sanctions for some reason or another, announcing that they were buying Bitcoin. Remember this? We've been going over this for a while. This is before the U.S. This is before the U.S. even announced their idea of buying. This was years ago. We had news about multiple countries who were under U.S. sanctions beginning to mine Bitcoin. Why would they be mining Bitcoin? We were like, what's going on? And they were like, yeah, so since we can't actually take place in the current economic system because of sanctions, we're going to start mining Bitcoin. And then we heard, I forgot which country it was first. It was somewhere in the Middle East, who announced that they would be accepting Bitcoin for imports and exports, like as the actual thing. And they were working with other countries. When they were exporting or importing stuff, these countries were paying each other in Bitcoin. And I was like, oh boy. So it's these kind of things that when they take place, I've noticed people in crypto like just don't care. For some reason, there's like a lack of understanding of how monumental these actual things are. Like we can see and we saw the Bitcoin standard beginning in real time. But if you bring that news and you see that prices are down, oh my gosh, we're in a bear market. No one cares because so few people are actually paying attention to like the long term of all of this. This is what I'm not going to go into a rant, but this is the problem with like investing, is that people don't know how to invest. It's not just you have news that the US dollar is crumbling, is collapsing, is inflating far more than 3% that they keep telling you in the news. You see everything getting more expensive. You realize that the US dollar is garbage. If the US dollar is garbage, that means other fiat currencies are poo-poo. Like they're doing really bad. And the main goal for a lot of people is thinking that you can jump into the market the year after the halving, November and December, throw $800 into it, and that you walk away by the end of December with $800 million and you go, yeah, that's not how it works. All these companies getting into this, there's a reason why they're talking about like future projections for this market. There's a reason why BlackRock didn't say, okay, we'll be here for 6 months. After that, we're gone. No, this is like a literal long-term thing. The world of finance is melting into Bitcoin and crypto and stable coins and blockchain. And like 10% of people within the market actually realize anything that's actually going on. So everything that's happening, it's abundantly clear that there's been some discussion, some agreement, some kind of movement behind the scenes to actively integrate this. There's no way on this earth that we heard from 14 banks this year talk about they're all creating their own stable coin. These banks announcing the beginning of 2026, we will be adding Bitcoin and Ethereum to, trading. You can trade Bitcoin and Ethereum on our apps, on your banking app. This will be available for retail investors. Banks announcing around the world in 2026, we will allow people to deposit their Bitcoin and their Ethereum in their bank accounts. Like, what are you talking about? This is clear that this is going to be around for a very long time. And this lack of understanding of that is so weird that people are just here for a quick buck. But this is part of the reason why so few people actually get rich or stay rich. I understand that there are a billion other economic policies that have made sure to keep people down for seemingly centuries. But also on top of that, it's kind of like when somebody, wins 120 million by playing a scratch off, and then that money's gone in a year and a half. Like it just doesn't, everyone's so concerned with right now. No one thinks about the actual future. So this is why we keep talking about the future and where things are going to go so that people can get into their minds that this is going to be around for a long time. So yeah, basically, and then he talks about where he thinks that the actual system is going. And once again, the timeline was reiterated. He said he thinks by 2028 to 2030, crypto is going to be heavily integrated into the market. At this point, it makes sense. And I'll tell you, if Bitcoin's not over $1 million by 2030, we've been duped. If crypto's not, because this is the direction that it's going in. All the banks are integrating it. All the countries are buying it. Everyone's using it. We're having a heavy discussion about Bitcoin yield and making passive income from holding crypto. Everything is becoming digitized. The whole thing with tokenization. How many times, how many banks and institutions, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, Robinhood recently, they're all talking about tokenizing all of their stocks and their equities and securities and putting them on chain. Yeah, I think things are going to be great for a select few people who actually pay attention. But like I said, that's just the way that things are. You can't convince people to stay in a market that they don't understand or that they don't want to. You can't convince someone to invest regardless of how much money that person could actually make. The way that adoption happens is by regret. That's the way that it always takes place. I wish I had made that .com company in the early 2000s. I should have did it. I wish I bought gold when it was 300 an ounce. I wish I had paid attention in 2009 and bought a house for $38,000. It's worth $700,000 now. Same exact thing will happen with crypto. This is the only way that it's going to work. People will see that it gets integrated. They won't care. People will hear in the news that Bitcoin's at 700,000. They won't care. They will hear that Bitcoin's at 1.5 million. The regret will begin to set in. They'll start buying some Satoshis. That's how things will work. That's the only way that this is all going to take place because that's just how humans are. There's no other way around it. Yeah. So This was quite popular news. We haven't heard from Mr. Hoskinson quite recently, if you will. He used to be in the news a lot more, but yeah, this year he's on a roll. He is definitely like, yeah, I love crypto, Bitcoin, here we go, that kind of thing. We also got news, don't forget, earlier this year where he announced that Cardano would be integrating into Bitcoin and XRP, and Cardano would be minting a bunch of Ripple stable coins, and it's been a long year. Yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video, everyone. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you!